I am an abnormal person.
Wow.
I'm not normal. Some people describe me as being mad. Every man that sleeps with a woman, research has shows that he leaves his genes in that woman. We are not old school. We are the real school.
You're not old school.
No, we are the real school. Church today is a mass production industry. If you want to commit adultery in the church, the girls there are readily available. I was in Frankfurt. A professor came to greet me. She was holding my book, The Philosophy of the Hand. Imagine small boy like me. One of Abba.
A lot of people say you advocate for Yahoo boys. How would you respond to that?
Me?
Yes.
Advocate for Yahoo boys. How?
I read that in the comment section.
It's a satanic verse.
All right, hi, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This is Moment of Bliss with Donald. And please do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, so when I post a video, you'll be able to get a notification. I have somebody very fascinating today on board. Like I always bring thrilling people. This is a great man. I have so much respect for him. It's indeed an honor having him. He is a medical doctor by profession. By master's, he's a social scientist. And this is a man who says the truth without caring how you feel. But when you humble yourself and listen, you'll be able to get some words of wisdom from him. A sensational table shaker. If you've not seen his video, you're learning work. Thank you so much, Doc, for coming around.
My pleasure being
Thank
here.
you for granting me this opportunity to be with you.
You're welcome, sir.
I am so honored to have you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. So, Doc, how best would you describe yourself?
I'm a Nigerian, a very proud Nigerian. I'm an honorable man. I'm always very proud to say I'm an honorable man. I'm a multifaceted person. I'm a medical doctor. I have a master's in public admin. I am an ordained clergyman.
Whoa.
I run schools. I have 2 beautiful schools, nursery, primary, secondary.
Whoa.
I farm. I farm on 40-something acres.
Wow.
I am into real estate. I'm an author of several books.
Wow.
I am a missionary. I do mission works to African countries, and my mission work is mostly to teach Christians about entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Because there's so much talk about prosperity without really seeing the reality of prosperity in Africa. So I took it upon myself that I will raise 1 million entrepreneurs based on the principles God had taught me. I've written several books. I'm a resource person to churches, to organizations and multinationals. And they are married. I've been married for 39 years.
Whoa.
And like as I told people, it takes stupidity to remain married for long. And I've been stupid for 39 years. I have 4 children. The eldest is a medical doctor, an orthopedic surgeon, and a trauma specialist. I have the second one, my daughter. She's married. She calls herself Apoki raised to the power 2.
Whoa.
And then she's the administrator of our schools, alongside my wife. I have a 3rd child who has a PhD in computer science.
Okay.
He's working in an Israeli firm in Europe.
Wow,
And
that's great.
gave me a grandson, beautiful grandson. He's married to a cardiologist.
That's great.
I have a last boy who is not yet married, has a master's in strategic marketing. I was sitting with an American girl in the flight from Frankfurt, and I was toasting the girl for my son.
What?
I am an abnormal person.
Wow.
I'm not normal. Some people describe me as being mad or crazy.
But it's okay.
But I believe that I'm just playing the role God has ordained me to play.
That's
I'm
the
happy
madman
doing that.
role.
Yes.
by their own description.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is a lot. He's a lot in one person. The right word that says is multifaceted individual and an abnormal human being. So, Doc, how would you react to the sexual marketplace of the young people today?
I think that the average young person looks at sex as entertainment or recreation. Cheap sex is expensive because sex was ordained by God only for marriage and in marriage. Anything outside marriage is mutual exploitation. And marriage, sex is not an expression of love. Okay. After all, harlots have sex with their customers. They don't love their customers. If they love their customers, they won't make profit.
Okay.
And so sex carries a lot of responsibilities, like the outcome might be pregnancy, a human being that you have to prepare for. The other thing is that it can carry disease situations that can terminate your life if not properly managed. So I think that sex should not be entered casually. If not, you'll become a casualty. It should be taken very seriously.
Sorry, say that again, sir.
Sex should not be entered into or taken casually. If you take it casually, you become a casualty.
Oh, that's the punchline.
And as I used to tell people, don't let your erection determine your direction.
Don't let your erection
determine your direction. And the womb that will carry your children must have the mental capacity to carry your vision.
That's heavy.
If not, she will become a PLC, a personal liability concern.
Damn. That's heavy, dog. That's heavy. So, as somebody who has been married for 39 years, yes, and during your time, we in this generation call your kind the old school generation. We are in an era of sexual liberation. Everybody's just having sex and all that. And the girl says it's woman energy, sexual liberation, freedom, and all that. Do you think that body count actually counts?
Yes. Every man that sleeps with a woman, research has shows that he leaves his genes in that woman.
That's true.
And that the number of proteins from sperm cells that interact with your cervix is proportional. The chances of having a cancer of the cervix is proportional to the number of times different semen have gotten in contact with your cervix. So sexual promiscuity is associated with CA of the cervix. So body count matter. And you see, you are talking about body. Spiritually, if the Bible says if you sleep with a harlot, that you become one with
a harlot.
So you see that a girl is married, she has different dispositions and personalities that she herself does not understand. Is that the copulation with other people, they are spirits couple and they form a bimetallic strip. So the resultant effect is that you are married, but there are several spirits controlling you. And then the emotional trauma of having to sleep with this person, break with this person, and all that. Even for the man, it matters. We should not just look at body count only for females. It matters. You get a situation where you are not able to discipline yourself. I've been married for 39 years. I've been to the end of the world. I've been to some of the farthest places in Africa. I started medical school at 20. I started my personal practice at the age of 29. I was running a 40-bed hospital at the age of 27, and they were beautiful girls. I got married at 26. I have never kissed another woman.
For 39 years?
39 years.
Wow.
Because I want to be responsible to myself, to my wife, to the youths who follow me, to those who watch me. We are not old school. We are the real school.
You're not old school.
No, we are the real school.
And the reason why you've been faithful is because you want to be responsible to yourself, first of all.
If a woman sees me, they respect me because they know I'm interacting with them not for anything. And I cannot strip myself naked for any woman. She's not worth it. I was in Dortmund and I was in the city center. People were coming to hug me, just salute me. One girl saw me, all said, one worried girl. I'm very excited. my son was with me. We were boarding I wanted to board a plane in Dusseldorf, and people saw me in the airport. Dr. Apoki, our father, the man that says the truth. Then I got to Frankfurt. It was like that. Inside the plane, somebody hugged me. One other guy said, "It's our father, don't go near him like that, or if not, there will be trouble in this plane." And they were taking selfies with me and all that. The American girl sitting near me that I said I was toasting for my son. And I said, "What do you do? You look like a celebrity." That euphoria, that respect, that social orgasm is more than physical orgasm. The feeling is sex.
The feeling of importance.
Yes, sex is pleasurable friction. Pleasurable friction. It's just friction. And orgasm is the peak of pleasurable friction. And falling in love is a chemical reaction. It's the secretion of the love hormones. So I cannot, in the immediacy of the overflow of hormones, lose my future. My future is great. I see who I was with Callistus in the aircraft. I wanted to fly Captain Callistus. He just saw me, said I must do an interview with him. And I did an interview with him in the aircraft. And like that, people react to me. So my future is more than 5 minutes of copulation.
Whoa.
My integrity is more than 5 minutes of copulation. I have value for myself. And I take myself very seriously. Most of this sexual promiscuity, people don't take themselves seriously. I take myself very seriously.
Very seriously.
I was running my own practice at 29, where I was managing a 40-bed hospital, Royal Hospital, at number 4 Popo Road. There were young girls who were in nursing school. I was 27, but I could not bring myself to degenerate to that level. But I get tempted. I get seduced, because no matter how old a goat is, if you give yam to it, it will eat it. And old guns, still they shoot, they kill person. So me, I have to discipline myself, restrain myself, and take precautionary measures.
What are the measures you took to save yourself from falling into those such temptations?
Number one, when I got born again, I grew up in a system that took that in the Aba area. I got born again under pastors that took Christianity very seriously. It's not this prosperity we are talking about now. Then we were using benches, but the power of God moved more than when we are using these padded chairs, because purity of soul and body was emphasized. If you committed adultery or fornication, you were excommunicated. They brought shame upon you. You were not celebrated, like as we are seeing now. So that environment where I grew up mattered in Igbo land. The next thing is that my father told me that any day you commit adultery, 1 year leaves your life. So I took my father very seriously. The next thing was that I have a responsible wife, a wife that has labored with me. I knew her when she was 19, I was 21. I told her I would marry her. I married her when she was 24 and I was 26. And she has built an economy with me, passed through a lot of challenges with me. It will be wickedness and the peak of selfishness for me to go and sleep with another woman. And then the consequences, if I sleep with one woman, and I was entering a hotel in Lagos, the receptionist was watching my video. So if I brought one girl there now, she will know it would damage
already,
everything.
yes.
So I'm just looking at practical issues. And then this wife I have labored with, if I go and sleep with one girl, she'll go and deliver one child with table tennis bald head that will become a problem to my children that we have labored for. I don't like stress, you know.
You don't like to mess things up.
No.
Just because of pleasurable friction.
No, I practice delayed gratification. I'm wicked to myself. I'm wicked to myself. I discipline, I put myself under pressure so as to, I've not eaten any meal today.
Wow.
And it's about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock because I want to keep this weight. I'm 65. In the past 40 years, I've not added more than 10 kilograms. So I want to remain trim. I want to remain active want to live long. So it's all discipline. It's all prioritization too.
What
are my priorities? This girl or the future, the glorious future
that you have ahead of you?
Yes.
All right, Doc. You sold your hospital to start a church. Is that correct?
Yes. To some extent, I will explain.
Why?
You see, I'm a restless person. That is, I get easily bored.
With things.
I don't do things because of money. I do things because of the sense of fulfillment, the joy it brings. So, number one, when I was in medical school, I saw a professor of medicine during Shagari's first advent. He was asking a businessman for money during the currency exchange. And I told myself, if you want to learn work, you go look your oga. If my professor, who is the peak of medical knowledge, is asking a businessman for money, and my primary defect was money, not intellect, not intellectualism. I could be people call me professor. So I decided that I was going to be a businessman and that I will not practice medicine beyond the age of 40. So when 40 was due, that decision, like as I told Captain Callistus, you must live a self-prophetic life. P number one, prophesy your future. I said 40, I will stop. I said I will be a global citizen, a global grandfather. And I just finished a tour of 5 or 6 European countries with my children. So I also told you, you must also live a phased life, phases. Medical practice, 40, that phase had gone. Everything became boring and I needed to metamorphose into the next phase. Coincidentally, that was the time I was called. Whether I received a missed call, I don't know. Whether God called me, I didn't hear, or whether only me called myself, I don't know. But it got to a point, the demand for my ministration was more than the time I had in the hospital. And it's better to listen to God. So I had to sell the hospital because I like doing one thing at a time and focusing on it unless I have somebody to delegate it to. So I went to Really and I started a church. It didn't work because number one, I couldn't placate the people. I couldn't give them hope capital and a false promise without them willing to live a righteous and a godly life. They wanted to be coming to church, see the manifestation of the glory of God, fall down, stand up, and all that. And
you were not providing
and
that.
I was not providing that. And I did. One of the last services, I provided that for them. But I deliberately held that back to let them know that I came to that town for a specific reason, to raise a new generation.
And it became a failure.
And I didn't have patience to stand with them and start doing all these pastoral gimmicks. And so I sold it and I gave it out to Church of God Mission. I became a member in the same church.
You submitted the church?
Yes. I'm a member in that same church where I was general overseer. They used my building.
Wow.
So I don't, unless my pastor tells me to preach, I don't preach.
You don't preach? Yes. You're just a normal member?
Yes. Fulfillment for me is not labeled. Fulfillment is how many people I'm able to reach.
Affect.
And when somebody wakes up and thanks God because of me, that is eternal life for me.
Yes. So, Doc, you're somebody who is vast, well-read, well-traveled. What do you think is the problem of Nigeria?
The problem of Nigeria is multifaceted. And number one, we had independence in a platter of gold. Okay. We did not fight for it like other nations fought for theirs, like South Africa, like India. Mahatma Gandhi went through a lot for India to gain independence. And he had a philosophy. You understand? Nkrumah was very philosophical. Nelson Mandela subsequently became philosophical. Leopold Senghor, very philosophical. We in Nigeria are not philosophical. We tend to go for the simple part of the Greek theory of politics. The Greek philosophy of politics states that you have idiots, and one man said that when you have one idiot, you have one idiot. You have two idiots, you have two idiots. But when you have 10,000 idiots, you have a political party.
Whoa.
10,000 idiots form a political party. And in the Greek philosophy, who is an idiot? An idiot is somebody who does a thing without caring about the consequences on the environment, humanity, and society. And that has been the bane of Nigerian politics, politics of idiocy. Then you now have followership of idiocy. Then you now have in the Greek categorization, you have tribesmen. Tribesmen are people who relate with people or do things because of their tribes, because of their party, because of the schools they attended, because they are lawyers. They don't do things for the merit of things. So we've had politics of North, South,
East. Politics
of an Igbo man cannot be president, whether he's the best or not. Politics of Emilio Kan, it is our turn. Politics of PDP will rule for 100 years, whether they are competent or not, and then APC will react to it. So we have had idiots and tribesmen. We have not had citizens. Citizens are those who have the interest of their nation uppermost at heart. So the more citizens we have, the more Nigeria will develop. If you are an idiot, you will collect wrapper to vote. You will collect buckets to vote. You will vote because this person is your tribesman. Vote for that person. So that is the problem with Nigerian politics, the politics of idiocy, tribesmen. We have not had politics of citizenship.
Wow. Taking back a little bit, looking at how life started. How poor were you? Or how poor were you people?
Terrible. My father was a refuse collector in the Warri Urban District Council.
Whoa.
We lived in one big mud house with just one room. We were tenants.
In a mud house?
Yes, in a township. If you are a tenant in a block house in a township, is understandable. But when you are a tenant in a mud house in the slum of a city, then it is terrible.
Whoa.
When we went to toilet, heaven and earth bore witness because it wasn't covered. And chickens used to sleep under my bed. I used to hawk akamo, that's pap, in the morning before going to school in the afternoon. We had afternoon schools. Then I used to hawk firewood. If you touch my palm, it's like the back of a crocodile. I would have been taller than this if not for the compression of the firewood on my head. I used to go to the bush to cut firewood with my mom. When in 2012, when I went for my son's graduation in medical school in Europe, when I saw him with white children, I was the only black parent in the hall. I started weeping because I remember during the raining season, when we go cut firewood, it would be raining from above, and the Niger Delta, there are rivulets called Igrogro. The water will reach you like this. Because I was small, it will reach my waist level. And you will be cold. And I will tell my mom that I'm cold. I will say, cross your leg. I will now cross my leg. Say, urinate on your body. I will now urinate on my body. The urine will keep me warm. But it also was beautiful. The golden colored urine will be flowing in the... So I could hardly pay school fees at government college, really. Thank God for social justice. And then when I went to FGC Warri for higher school, thank God for social justice. They gave us books at government college, really, and all that.
Free?
Yes. No, not free. We paid an amount, but they supplied the books because they bought from the publishers. They gave us uniforms. They gave us black shirts, gave us blankets, washed our clothes in the laundry, ate beautiful meals. We had a swimming pool in school. So, wow. But when I was to go to FGC for higher school, there was a day I didn't have passport photographs. And so I had to cut group photographs that I took to make the passport photograph.
Cut yourself out
of it. And then I got to FGC Warri. I didn't have money to come back with taxi. I trekked back. And it was terrible. But the government provided social justice. That is, we had a fair. We were paying 80 naira school fees at FGC Warri. 80 naira. You paid 30 naira. Then I think you paid 50 naira. And they were giving us chicken. They were giving us Quaker oats.
80 naira.
80 naira
for school
fees. So, and the tragedy where I get angry is that those of us who enjoy these privileges are the same ones who are destroying this country. In those days, if you were going back home, they paid your transport fare. If you were coming from the north, if we were coming from anywhere outside Warri, at FGC Warri.
The school pays your transportation.
The school gives you transport money to go back home.
In this Nigeria?
In this country. So I had social justice. I had the privilege of schooling with the children of the elite in this country. I used to say this all the time. The secretary to the federal government of Nigeria, his son was in my class. We're sitting together, and they are still my friends till today. Wow. So I had social justice. So the poverty was such that in 1973, when my father retired, to pay 22 naira school fees, 22 naira, not 22,000. My father didn't have it. He went to meet one of his friends to give to him. The friend told him that, why did you put your child in a school that is elite and that you don't prevent somebody from having big teeth, but they must have big lip to cover it? My father had one blind eye. So I saw him cry and tears came from that blind eye. And I made up my mind that day that my children will have the best of education. That's why I gave them the best I could give to them. I started training children overseas more than 16 years back. So that's the story. We lived in a mud house. And among us who lived in the mud house, we've produced multi-millionaires. There's a man called Lee Engineering, has a group of companies. Lee Engineering, Limon Ikpia.
Yeah.
I was his father's doctor. We grew up in the slums together. Today, he employs expatriates. I was in his castle recently, and we were narrating how his father was a night watchman. My father was a night watchman. My father would close from the Warri Urban District Council
and go for work.
Not only go for night watchman, he will patch the mud houses during the day. Then he will go and do night watchman till morning. And I saw that struggle and I made up my mind I had to be a success.
This is another level of poverty.
Yes. But it was common. It was common. It was common in my days around that vicinity, but we were the lower echelon, yes. But my father had a vision. He said I would be a medical doctor,
his father,
like Dr. Stevenson, who was the medical director of the Warri Hospital, where he used to go and gather refuse. And I became a doctor in that same hospital.
Oh, glory. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. So the hospital in which he goes to gather refuge,
I became a doctor.
He dreamed that his son will become a doctor in that
same hospital.
And he achieved that dream.
And I achieved that dream, and his grandson has achieved that dream. His grandson is treating white people in Germany.
Oh wow. Wow, his legacy lives on.
Yes.
I'm so glad they actually made it. Oh, so as a pastor and as a global trotter, you've traveled the world. I want to understand, is the Jesus in Nigeria, in Africa, different from the Jesus in the Western world? Because I see the expression of Jesus in the Western world different from the expression of Jesus in Nigeria.
Okay. When a message leaves one place to the other, it gradually changes. In a Bible school, they formed a line.
That's the effect of reported speech.
Yes, they formed a line, and then they told somebody, they whispered something to the first person. By the time it got to the last person, the message is totally different from what they whispered to this first person. So Christianity left Israel, came to Ethiopia. Ethiopia was the first Christian state from the Ethiopian eunuch. Then subsequently went to Europe. It became an institution. The state and religion were not separate.
They married themselves.
Then it went to America. It became entertainment and commerce. Then it came to Nigeria. It became a status symbol. It became hope capital
of the poor.
That this is your year of this is your year of that. But there are we negated the principles because the Bible is it's a book. You have the Old Testament, you have the New Testament. The Old Testament has the sociology of the Bible, how to buy land. Abraham bought land and collected receipt from Ephron. That's where Hebron is today. Jeremiah bought land. The woman, the Shunammite woman, had property, and when she came back, her tenants were evacuated, and she collected her rent. Isaac planted in the land, not gave offering. He sowed in the land because his father bought land, dug wells. You understand? And so there are key principles in the Old Testament that we negated and concentrated on the spirituality of the New Testament, negating the fact that we in Africa, in Nigeria, we are still an agrarian community, or a community quite like the Old Testament days. So we took American Pentecostalism, bastardized it here. So the Jesus is the same, but there is dispensational relationship with a message. Okay, if you see that in the time of Elijah, Elisha killed slaughtered his 6 yoke of oxen to go into ministry. But in 2 Kings chapter 4, Elisha was now asking the wife of the prophet, what have you of sale value in your house? That is, the man Elisha went into FULL time ministry. Elisha now was asking this man, are you in woman, did your husband do FOOL time ministry, Mumu time ministry? In this dispensation we live in, we can't run ministry the way the people before us ran it, of just depending solely on the people to give. Today we have donor fatigue. The people are tired. They've given and given, they've not seen results. And then the people who are giving are not seeing the improvement on their lives, but they are seeing the improvement on the life of Dr. Apoki and his friends. And then they have started questioning. And it is the questioning that is making Jesus look different here. And in the process of preaching the gospel, thinking that the rapture was coming very fast, we did not emphasize the things I said earlier on. You understand? And then the people now are questioning, where has this taken us to? Just as they questioned Jesus, after we've left all this, what is our own benefit? So Jesus gave them an answer: you will get here on earth, then eternal life. But we are concentrating more of what the people can get here on earth. We are no longer teaching about eternal life. And then it's like a commercial transaction. And people, let me say this. People say, I attack the church. I don't attack the church. The church is a heavenly gathering of saints. What we have, the four walls, is an organization. It is not an organism. And so what we are pointing out are the wrong steps we are taking. And the wrong steps drive people from Christ more than what I am saying. I'm a Christian, though I don't pastor a church now.
You used to pastor before.
I pastored it.
Okay, so why do we see, I want to understand why here in Africa, when we pay respect on reference to our ancestors, it becomes witchcraft. Why is it so?
If you are a Christian, ancestral worship does not sound biblical. It's not biblical, because the man that is dead cannot influence you. It's dead. After death, judgment. One of my friends, they told him that his father was appearing in a dream and he was complaining to his uncle. He told his uncle to go and warn his father that the problems he left behind, he has not finished solving them, that he should not appear in his dream again. So our ancestors are dead and gone. You understand? I honor my grandfather Apoki by making sure I represent him well. In Madagascar, they wake up the dead. I mean, they bring out the embalmed dead, redress them again, and parade the streets with them in Madagascar. A few days back, that's about on Friday this week, was a public holiday in Germany.
Okay.
The public holiday was to remember their dead. To remember their dead. How far can we remember? So we should concentrate on the living, take care of the living, make meaning to the living. The dead is dead and gone.
But in Christianity also, I think there was a time that Jesus went to a certain place and the spirits of the dead visited him.
I can't remember that. When he died, the dead rose.
When he was alive, he went to a mountain to pray.
Elijah and Elisha
came to him out either with Moses too.
Yes, with Moses.
Then secondly, the Christians are called the children of Abraham by faith. Peter and Paul, Matthew, references, oblations are paid to them, respects are paid to them. Most times they are. I've been in a church where the pastor say, and Apostle Paul is here, right? Apostle Paul is here present, right?
With who? How?
Like, more like the spirit of Apostle Paul is here. So all I'm trying to say is that Christians do the same exact things that Africans do. And why is it that of Africans happens to be witchcraft and that of Christianity happens to be holiness?
Your question, when Moses and Elijah appeared, it did not become a practice.
Okay.
It was an incident.
Okay.
When Moses flogged the rock, we don't start flogging rocks for water.
No.
Now,
we
sink boreholes.
Yeah.
We strike the rocks by cracking them.
We drill
to them.
No.
So that instance cannot be made to produce a fallacy of hasty generalization. That is to say, because that happened, then it is part of the practice of the nation of Israel or the Abrahamic faith. In fact, consultation of the dead, which is necromancy, is discouraged in the Bible, and Saul did it.
Saul did it at once. Now, it is, okay, maybe we're saying two different things. Because what I was trying to say is, it's not about necromancy.
It's about remembrance.
Respecting your ancestors, paying in whatever way that you respect them, honor them, not worship them. Because I think necromancy has to do with consulting them, invoking them, worshiping them, making it a practice.
Yes.
Right here, just like you talked about your friend had a dream. I'm of the opinion that if you dream and see your father or your grandfather in the dream, and Nigerians will wake up speaking in tongues and kabashi.
I don't do that.
And casting.
I don't do that.
And I asked them, your
man
father
is dead.
Did not kill you
when
he was alive. So if he comes to your dream, he wants to kill you now.
I dream terrible dreams. I dream that lizard is pursuing me. I dream that if you look for trouble like me, you dream.
A lot of dreams will come.
My wife dreamt one day and she woke up and she was crying. I said, "What are you crying for?" She said, "I dreamt that you died." I said, "Please sleep again. Dream another dream."
Dream that I woke up.
Dream that I need to preach in America. I need to preach in every place. So I better sleep and dream again. And I have not died. I also dream that I die. I have not died. So. African ancestral worship, if it is in their African traditional belief system, is different from Christianity. It's just as you were explaining to me different applications, you understand. we can't bring African ancestral worship to Christianity. But in South America, there is a marriage between syncretism. There's a marriage between African religion from Yoruba land and the Catholic faith.
I think that's
Brazil. Brazil and a host of South American nations. For me, I prefer to stick to the simple, straight gospel. I don't want to complicate myself by going to look for dead people. In fact, I practice deliberate amnesia. I don't remember the day my father died. I don't remember the day my mother died. As I sit here, I'm the only person alive out of my family.
Your lineage.
Yes. Apart from my children. All my brothers are dead. I don't remember them. I just move on.
From your lineage, you're the only living.
From my father and my mother, I'm the only one. I'm the only one remaining.
Whoa.
I practice deliberate amnesia. There's so much to live up for and aspire to become that I can't be reflecting on the dead.
On the past.
And you see people do 20 years in mind. You know why they do 20 years in mind? It's because they are still collecting rent from the person's property.
All right. So there is a social activist that said that VDM is a necessity.
Yes.
What do you think? Do you think that VDM is a necessity?
There's a video I'm going to do. It is called anosomnia. It is when you can't smell again. And I went to the internet, I Googled that when you stay in an odorous environment, a smelling environment, that a time comes, the epithelium, that is the lining of your nostril, is the molecules of the odor. They impregnate it to saturation. It has no space to receive new odor. So in Nigeria, the odorous environment, the nauseating environment, has so much saturated our consciences that we no longer respond to evil, respond to deprivation, respond to oppression. VDM is my last son's age mate.
Okay.
Is a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air. And it's a sign that there's hope for this country. We still need people who can sensitize us to the ills in our environment, the oppression in our environment. So in that context, VDM is a necessity. But I did a video, I was counseling him that he needs to institutionalize the struggle. Only him cannot be the struggle. Only if he's the only one involved in the struggle, he will become a target. If he institutionalizes
Spread
it,
out.
like this SETRAP or SERAP, it's an institution. We will have lawyers, we'll have all kinds of people. Thank God people are donating money to him. When I was overseas, I was monitoring it. He can have an organization. He's the leader of the organization, but the organization speaks as a corporate body, so they don't attack him.
Him alone.
They don't try to, because corruption and evil will always fight back vehemently. So is a necessity, but we need to institutionalize his struggle.
So that there will be proper...
Yes. It can...
Formidability.
Yes. And so that he does not run out of ideas, so that he does not wear out, so that his mistakes will not kill the struggle. So, and also he needs some older people who have come before him, who are clean, not every person, who are clean, that can act as counselors for him. If I wouldn't have allowed him to wear that police uniform. You understand? I would have counseled him. It was not necessary. We all know him as social media policeman.
Yeah.
That uniform was a distraction, and his enemies have cashed on it.
They are looking for a way
to trap him. But my prayer for him is I will come out of it wiser, and then we'll move on.
All right. Doc, I saw where you were asking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu and speaking of the Igbo nation. What led to that?
You know, I did my youth service in Igbo land in 1985, and I stayed there for 15 years. The Igbos were very good to me. I believe that if we fought a civil war in this country, and Gowon came up and said, no victor, no vanquished, and the three arrows, reconciliation, reconstruction, rehabilitation, I believe that we should allow the civil war be a thing of the past, and we should not use halo effect to relate with the Igbo nation. That is to say, there was coup and there was counter-coup. Germany and America are relating well. Germany and Israel, they are relating well. There had been a lot of bloodletting in the past of human history. But there is a time you need to move on. America threw 2 bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki during the Second World War. But America and Japan, they are pali-pali.
A lot of Japanese are in America.
Yes, pali-pali. So I believe that Nnamdi Kanu was a product of a vacuum, product of necessity. When the herdsmen were terrorizing farmers in the East, the Eastern governors and most Eastern leadership are usually slow to react and to defend their people. And Nnamdi Kanu cashed on that open space. Nnamdi Kanu is not the first person to agitate for Biafra. There was Masop, who was Zulike also. There was Masop. But that time, there was no violence, real violence by another tribe who are not indigenous to the East. In the book written by Lord Lugard, The Dual Mandate, he published it in 1922. He said that was 8 years after the amalgamation. He said by virtue of the amalgamation that Fulanis can now bring cows to the East. The Easterners had their own cows, Ehi or Ehi. So Nnamdi Kanu filled that vacuum, and the aspiration of the Igbo youths, most who were not born before the Civil War. And Nnamdi Kanu was arrested, taken to court, and granted bail, but his house was invaded. You do not expect him to wait for them to kill him
before.
So he escaped and went overseas and continued his agitation there. So he was a product of circumstances. He was in Kenya, then you brought him, kidnapped him here. Now, the same Nnamdi Kanu kind of struggle, Igbo started it in the West. In fact, people invaded the Oyo State House of Assembly, Oyo State House, Governor's House, and raised a Yoruba flag. Igbo was escaping just as Nnamdi Kanu escaped and was caught in Cotonou. And he won a case just as Nnamdi Kanu won his case. And he was asked to be released. Igbo has been released. He has gone to number 10 Downing Street to present a petition to the British government. The same time, after Nnamdi Kanu, a Meiti Alan leader was arrested and released, but Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention after the Supreme Court has said that he should be released. So I consider it injustice. I did a video on why do you hate Igbos in their own country. I believe that holding Nnamdi Kanu in prison is unwise because the economy, a president is a president because of the interest of his citizens. There is an agitation in the East that every Monday commercial activities don't open. That is a big economic loss because I know how much money takes place in Onitsha, Aba, Owerri every Monday. And then there is so much bad blood between the federal government, the indigenous Igbos, not our leaders. The leaders are pali-pali against the federal government. And there is a sense of alienation that the Igbo man feels in this country more especially when I know that Peter Obi won the election. I know that the victory was stolen from him. It further agitates the Igbo mind as if they are not needed in this country. Therefore, a wise president will release Nnamdi Kanu. You can release him one way or release him another way. You Shugabanize him. Shugabanization is the wisdom of Shagari when Shugaba of GNPP was giving Shagari problems. And Shagari realized that he was from Chad or Niger Republic. 12 midnight, Shugaba was woken up in the north and carried across the border. The Nigerian passport was seized from him. So he became persona non grata. He couldn't enter Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu has a British passport. Why don't you carry him to where you brought him from? And drop him there, give him money. You can be wise enough and be smart that he escaped, and then he will be a hero. You know, governments don't tell the truth. Yeah, he can be a hero in the sight of his followers. And I've listened to him recently. He's not preaching violence in Igbo land anymore, or maybe even never preached violence. So I believe that releasing Nnamdi Kanu will bring peace to the East, will bring reconciliation to the nation, will bring acceptability to this government that most people feel that he didn't win the election. I think it's just wisdom. It's not every fight you fight. And when you want to fight, you must be very careful. Don't fight somebody who has nothing to lose. Sometimes you have to apologize to some people who have nothing to lose to maintain your sanity.
Sometimes you have to apologize to people who have nothing to lose.
Even if you are correct.
To maintain your sanity. And because you will never win them in that.
No, fighting with somebody who has bitterness against you, you will never succeed in it. Can never placate him. The next thing is that when you fight somebody who people feel you're already oppressing, you are seen as a very wicked person.
Social sympathy is already on that person.
Yes.
All right, sir. So moving to Pentecostalism.
You don't come again.
Few months or few weeks ago, there were trends of testimony that made virals.
Yes.
And a certain mantra became, I am a chosen, are you a chosen? And that trend went on with that. Do you think, and it's just because this one was the one that trended and we've seen a lot of practices in Pentecostalism. You're trying to say, what do you have to say? Because you were a former WGO and currently a pastor, an ordained man of God.
You see, we, like Charles Awuzie, will always say, there is nothing any person is doing on TV that we didn't do, that we didn't see. I could be preaching, my interpreter will fall under the anointing. And then you go there, you pick the microphone, you will fall. If you hold me, if I say Jesus, you will fall. But people were falling, and they were not changing. I had to do a review. If you do a review of the testimonies in the Bible of the miracles that took place, none of the persons who had a miracle amounted to anything. Even Lazarus that was raised from the dead, he couldn't write a book about the land of the dead.
The dead.
We will have known how the land of the dead.
Yeah, because Lazarus would have given us a report.
And I heard his voice from the dead. And I heard from the dead. And I was in the dead. You will say that there were no writings there. No, Josephus was writing. Tertullian was writing. Most of those who received miracle. The miraculous...
The person that wrote about Lazarus was writing too.
Yes. The miraculous is an intermittent intervention of divinity in the affairs of humanity when humanity is helpless and confused. That Jesus multiplied bread did not prevent people from opening bakeries. So an undue emphasis on the miraculous, it is an attempt to over-glorify yourself, to over-publicize yourself, and your denomination and the ministry. The time of Jesus, when he healed people, he told them not to tell any person. Then why are we bringing our own to television? It is an aberration. It is not normal. There is no humility in it. There is self-aggrandizement in it. And there is the tendency for mimicry and people to fake. When you concentrate too much on the miraculous, one day you will be a herbalist. If you concentrate too much on prophecy, one day you will become a liar. So the overemphasis is just to attract people to ourselves and to glorify ourselves. You see, when Jesus pulled the crowd, when the crowd came, when he preached a gospel that they didn't like, "You will eat my body and drink my blood," they went away. Sometimes the attempt at gathering crowd is just to glorify ourselves and maybe financial gain.
Aggrandizement.
So, aggrandizement. I think that the overemphasis on the miraculous is distracting us in Christianity. And when you attach miracles to particular things, maybe an apron, anointing oil, you just, Dr. Apoki gave me his handkerchief, and all that, it's idolatry.
That's another Jujuism.
There's another.
So, Doc, what about Nigerian pastors and money? They're like 5 and 6, and it has really discouraged a lot of people who maybe were in church, their faith were sparking, but then you see a pastor use his holy hands, in quote, and lay on a criminal who is either a politician embezzling public fund,
yes,
and tell him, "The Lord that has blessed you to bring this will do more." How would you respond to such actions?
Number one, on a fair note, the pastor is not the DSS to know whether the person stole the money.
No, Doc, in a situation whereby I was your member, and all of a sudden,
I've heard testimonies. I've heard testimonies like that. The people subsequently became charged for corruption.
Overnight.
Yes.
They made me a commissioner.
Yes.
And I'm sowing seed of 50 million.
Don't go into details so that it will not be associated with any person. Let's just do a blanket discussion. Now, I know a bishop, an Anglican bishop. A governor carried a trailer of rice to him. He told the governor, "I didn't ask for rice. I am not hungry." And they left the rice. They told his church members to come and collect the rice. You understand? So it is true that we need money to run ministry, but hunger will not make you eat what you forbid. So we should be more discreet in ministry, because some of our leaders have said statements concerning each administration that turned out to be the reverse of what we are experiencing from those administrations. And so we should be very careful how we fraternize with politicians. They are not our enemies, they are our members. We should be very careful. If not, we will spoil the meal by the message, by over familiarity with them and over fraternization
with them. Doc.
Yes.
Do you think that men and women are equal?
Sir, in the sight of God, there's neither male nor female.
Okay.
It's in Galatians, I think, 3:16. A man is Ish, a woman is Aisha. A woman is a womb man, womb. So, equality in the sight of God and in the sight of the law, they are equal, but they play different roles. It's like the dollar and an equivalent sum of naira. They are not the same currencies, but in value transaction, they are equal.
But in number, they are not equal.
No, in value transaction,
they are equal.
They are equal.
But in number,
that is the number of notes that will turn to naira. I mean, a dollar. It also depends on the dispensation. There was a time dollar was lower than naira.
Yeah.
So $2 was
so
equivalent.
Using naira and dollar might not be a good example.
But the main message is that it is the value in the sight of God, the value in the sight of a man, and the sight of the law.
Talking about equality, I would rather think it from the prism of thought that it's not about value, because if you're looking at the value, women bring tremendous amount of value. Men bring tremendous amount of value to each his own, right? But I'm talking about, you see the feminism that is going on, the social ideology that has been spearheaded, that is going on about equality between a man and a woman, which we have seen the resultant effect. On that premise of thought, general equality in the marketplace, in the workplace, then at home, which is where it is the capital thing. do you think that a man is equal to a woman or a woman equal to a man? Not from the size of creation.
You have separated the question into two parts. Angela Merkel of Germany was such a good chancellor that when she left office, the German community decided to clap for 6 minutes for her at an agreed time. She had a husband. As a chancellor, she had exceeded what her husband has achieved. But being married to that man, answering the name of the man, her achievement is also the achievement of the husband. For the husband to have enough common sense and value to marry her makes him a good man. For the man not to have caused any scandal, it makes him a man that should be respected.
Any known scandal
is a man that should be respected. So, if you take Golda Meir, the prime minister in Israel at one time, who fought the Yom Kippur War, I think, with several Arab nations, and they won, you could compare him with Ben Gurion, the founder of the first prime minister of the Israeli state.
Yeah.
So in terms of functionality, outside marriage, men and women are equal. But when it comes to marriage, there is an organogram. The organogram is for functionality and for excellence. The functionality in marriage, God is supreme. The man is representing him as a king and a priest, and the wife is like the body of the man that has to be catered for, loved, and treated with respect.
Okay, so in the organogram of marriage you get
the man
God,
is at a higher pedestal.
God, man, than the woman.
Woman.
Okay.
But in the Western world, it is children, it is wife, children, wife, pussycat, dogs, plants, then before you see man. So, but let me also tell you, if you want to be a feminist and you don't want to be under a man, don't marry. The best feminists should be the best wives. Knowing, the Bible says a wise woman builds his house. It says a woman of virtue is an investor, does this, does that. So if you are promoting the values of womanhood, you should be the best wife.
But the interpretation of feminism is just wokeness, not actually feminine energy.
The resultant effect is a lot of divorce that have taken place. Yes. So I don't support feminism in that aspect.
Of wokeness.
I was a guest speaker. Total Energy, Total EP invited me to speak to women from their areas of operation in Rivers and Akwa Ibom State in Port Harcourt during one Women's Day celebration. The theme was, I choose to challenge. I told them that I choose to challenge is not to confront men. Like the British police have said that Nigerian women should stop reporting their husbands. You understand? So I choose to challenge is that I choose to challenge things that are detrimental to myself and to my children and to society. And I gave an example of my mother-in-law. When my father-in-law died, I had not known my wife. She was just entering class 2. And she stopped school because of the death of the father. And they were now sharing things like people like assets. You understand? The wife to go to this person, this to go to this person. Then my mother-in-law, a tall, huge woman, stood up. He said, all these ones, you are sharing property. What of my daughter that has been at home, has not gone to school? What will happen to her education? She chose to challenge that decision. And they said that we don't train women, that if we train women, we train them for their husbands. And my mother-in-law said, how much is the school fees? And they said 60 naira or 60 pounds. She said, I will pay. And she trained my wife. Today in that community, the biggest building in that community was built by my wife and I. And when she died, the kind of burial ceremony. I don't like burial ceremonies, but because of that insult, we put our feet down, and they were saying, who said they should not train women? Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes, I'm following.
She chose to challenge the status quo and challenge herself, not to be confrontational, When a woman is brash, she doesn't have value. The beauty of a woman is in softness.
The feminine energy.
Yes, and they can control you. They control us.
Definitely.
They control us. A primate or so, they went for a synod. And I think he said that if your wives control you, stand up. All the Anglican priests stood up. One of them with a 5G wife, fat wife, refused to stand up, a canon. Primate now said, Canon, does your wife not control you? Say she does. Why didn't you stand up? Said with a very pathetic voice, I wanted to stand up, but she told me to sit down.
She even controlled him, even in the church. Okay, so why do men cheat?
Why do men cheat? Number one, indiscipline. Number two, cultural values. Number three, influence of companionship. Number four, lack of wisdom. Number five, lack of understanding of the woman, of the wife, about the sexuality of the man. Men are enticed by what they see. And in the streets today, breast, buttocks, and bodies are all over the place. Even in church, people come to weddings with breasts saying, I am coming out. So men are enticed a lot. Number two, men think that when you cheat, when you follow women, that you're a big guy. No, you're a fool. That's for me. You're foolish. You don't. Then women who are married to men who are in activities that release a lot of adrenaline, noradrenaline, testosterone, and cortisol. These hormones are sexual stimulants. An evangelist, most likely, after preaching, he will be sexually aroused when he wakes up in the morning.
Because he's an active person.
Yes. Trailer drivers, soldiers, and all that are into activities that generate hormones, sexual stimulating hormones, they are male hormones, are more sexually active. So what the wife does is, she should do is to detoxify the man. You give him enough before he goes out. When he's coming back, you give him enough. And then create a memory in his mind. When you create a memory in his mind, he will be thinking of that memory
as the day goes by.
As it goes. Then men should learn. I told you I wanted to stay in the hotel with Ado. You understand? And then I have chaperones. I have people who stay with me. Because one day I was with Pastor Abraham. We were in a suite, and a woman saw him outside. That can he come to her room to discuss with him for 5 minutes? Until today, I'm still trying to understand what he needed him for, whether to plan against me, because I don't see any reason. She was much older than Abraham. I was in a hotel room with my wife, a suite at Warri, and I went downstairs to collect something. As I was taking the lift, a girl entered the lift. Said, which floor? I said, second floor. I thought she walks there. Then, she stopped on second floor. I entered my suite, and then she was spying me. After some time, I heard a knock on the door. I said, who is that? I always leave that chain on. Who is that? He said, it's me. I said, who is me? He said, my friend, your friend in the lift. What can I do for you? He said, your room looks fine, because everything in the room was bluish, with bluish light. I said, no, you can't come in. My wife is here. So she didn't come in. But they do that. One time I was with my wife at a coup in a hotel. Somebody knocked late in the night. Who is that? He says, Lovette. I said, no, you can't come in. I was with her somewhere else in Benin, and somebody called. Said, can I come and spoil you? So even at my age, I get tempted. And people want to do things with me. But I chaperone myself, either with my wife, I travel with my daughter, or in every city, I have people I call to come and stay with me. Because
so lead me not into temptation is better than deliver us from evil. Lead me not into temptation.
And then there is something with musical stars. When you finish singing and you finish performing, the dopamine level
It's high.
is high. Then suddenly it starts dropping, and you need another high
To maintain it.
Yeah, sometimes it's either drugs or women or cars
To maintain it.
to maintain it. So that's why men cheat. And then some of them are just wicked people. You can do everything I've said, they will still sleep with house girl. They are narcissists. They only think of themselves.
They don't consider the feelings
No,
of the next
they
person.
don't take the feelings of others.
All right, sir. Young people who are going into marriage,
Yes.
what advice do you have to them who are rushing into marriage?
You don't rush into marriage. You mature into marriage. Don't mind we, the older people, who always tell you, are you married? Marriage is like a secret cult. Those who are in it are thinking of a way to come out, and they keep encouraging others to join. Marriage is like pepper soup you cooked for yourself. It's not the way it is sent in that it tastes in the mouth. When you put it in the mouth, sometimes you sneeze, sometimes you shed tears, sometimes you see bone, you need to drink water. So I advise people that marriage is not love. Love, as I said earlier on, is a chemical reaction. Marriage should be for the following arrows. Arrow number 1, responsibility. Arrow number 2, relationship. Arrow number 3, relationship, like as you asked that question, I said there's an organogram. This is my husband and this is my wife. Relationship, how you connect. Then it is for respect. Respect is to have value for people's ideas, feelings, and opinions. Then it is for reproduction, not necessarily of having children alone, but replication of yourself. When I saw my son in his hospital, when we went there, somebody saw him, a Lebanese doctor. He introduced me that I'm his father. The Lebanese doctor said, Mimi, I was happy that somebody is applauding, giving my son accolades. My daughter will tell you, I am Apoki raised to the power. 2. Will tell you, I'm not called though. It's my father that is called. If you mess up near me, I show you fire. So I have been able to replicate myself. And then the relationship is not only between yourselves, another arrow. Relationship between God, between yourselves, between your children, between society and the future.
That's perfect.
So you don't just marry, as I explained somewhere, that you don't marry curves because we are doing BBL now. We'll enlarge this, enlarge that. No, those ones have expiring date. But the brain of a woman has no expiring date. When you marry character, capacity, competence. How does this person complement me? Are you following what I'm saying? Then before copulation comes in.
Before copulation comes in. But in these days, we have copulation.
We put the horse before the cat before the horse. So we are running backwards. Because you will get tired.
Definitely.
If you reach this age bracket, this engine does not work like before.
Whoa.
There's one vehicle called Bedford in those days. Before you start it, you have to put one rod, then you turn it. This age bracket, that animal in between my legs that is not born again, is the only creature that walks with the head upside down. You have to twist it, anoint it with oil before it starts. And once it starts, after a few minutes, it's singing, I surrender all. So it is not copulation that is the uppermost in marriage. It is essential. It is the oil of marriage. But cars don't drive on oil alone.
They also need water.
They need water, they need petrol, they need tires.
That's great. What a way to say that. Okay, so we have a mantra going around within the Christendom. It says, what God cannot do does not exist. And yet Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Why haven't God done that also?
You see, I don't like generalizations. I studied logic in higher school. The fallacy of hasty generalization is something we should be very careful of. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And we must not. The first law that God gave to man is not the 10 commandments. It's responsibility, walk the land. So number one, it is our responsibility to change this nation. It is not God. It is we that will change the nation. Number two, if you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. So we need to have the will
and obedience.
And obedience to what? The Bible says that if my people who are called by my name shall turn from their wicked ways and seek my face, I will heal the land. If the land in Nigeria, with all our churches, with all our vociferous preaching, is not reaching the... You know, we're giving loan to South Korea. Do you know we gave loan to IMF? Today we are taking loan to buy presidential jets to do all kinds of rubbish. So there is something that we who are called by his name are not doing well that we need to turn from. I did a video that any nation that has more churches than factories will not prosper. And they attacked me that I'm attacking the church. It's a simple truth I've said. Go and hug a transformer if it will suit you. Simple truth. I thank God Peter Obi said recently that he will turn the night vigil to night shifts. I don't know if it is true that he said. So that people can be productive. We are spending too much energy in this our aggressive Christianity without contributing, without being productive. I give you two examples that will vindicate me that I am not against the church. I am against stupidity in the church. The Onitsha diocese of the Catholic Church has 5 hospitals, big hospitals. Just like 60% of the bed spaces in China, in Germany, are owned by the Catholic Church. Just like Caritas and the Catholic Church has the biggest, they are the biggest social service and health providers in the world, more than any government. Just like the 10 biggest hospitals in America are faith-based hospitals. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, just like the Nnewi diocese of the okay, let me finish with the Onitsha Catholic diocese. They have schools. They are into oil and gas. They have hospitals. They have so many things. Just like the Nnewi diocese of the Anglican Church. The Nnewi diocese of the Anglican Church sells rice from their farm at a lower rate than the prevailing rate. They have printing press. They have all kinds of things. Industrialization. They have farms. They have schools of nursing. They have computer training centers and all that. That's the Nnewi diocese. In 5 years, they achieved that when this new bishop came in. Then, just like the Maris brothers in Uturu, they have tractors, they have a hatchery, they have poultry, they have a hospital, they have a school in Uturu. So all the birds, all the day-old chicks that were bought in Uturu as at the time I was supplying them fish meal, were from the Maris brothers. It's a Catholic organization. So the missionaries came with Onitsha Hospital. They came with Baptist Hospital Eku, Bishop Shanahan Memorial Hospital, Urakpan Hospital, several hospitals. They came with Hope Waddle and all that. So the church should concentrate their energies not only on praying with shaking your head like a concrete mixer. They should concentrate on productivity and at the same time spirituality. The blend will do very well. Then I want to say that those who built America were Christians. Princeton University, the president at one time was Jonathan Edwards, the man who preached sinners in the hands of an angry God. And people thought that the earth was going to open and swallow them. And by the time he died, his children, grandchildren were big men in America. Harvard is named after a pastor who donated his library. And so we must start playing roles. People will now ask me, Dr. Apoki, what role are you playing? I run 2 big schools and I employ more than 100 people. I farm. I am building a polytechnic. I'm opening a totally new city in my real estate with people from the diaspora buying land and whatever. So I'm contributing my own quota. I'm giving loans to
What would the city be called?
the city, Glory Land City.
Why
because
not?
a pastor lived in that forest before I started buying.
I would have preferred Apoki City.
No. I have so much that people will remember me for. I was in Frankfurt. The professor came to greet me. She was holding my book, The Philosophy of the Ant. Imagine small boy like me. Onya mama, one of Aba.
Doc, can a woman be satisfied?
A woman? It depends on the area of satisfaction. I just wrote a book titled Understanding Women.
Okay.
The first mistake in the Garden of Eden was, I want to be like. Eve wanted to be like God, which was a satanic thing in heaven. The first thing that Satan wanted was to damn God, was to replace God. So I want to be like. You will see the fashion trends of women. The African hair is so nice, but we are struggling to tie Brazilian hair on our heads. You will have your normal color is not there. You want to bleach it to become fairer. The Botox God gave to you, you think that the bigger the better. You don't know that the bigger, the more terrible it is in old age. It becomes like Mercedes Concorde that carries cement, and your knees will start aching. You want to enlarge your breast. You don't know that when the children finish sucking, then they will bow down, they will dobale. Then your fingernails are fake, your eyelashes are fake. There is an inherent dissatisfaction in the ungodly woman who is not born again in wanting to be like.
But we see a lot of women like that you've explained in church.
In
tongue speaking, born again.
Church today is a mass production industry. You don't have new converts class. Somebody just comes in because he has money, she's becoming pastor's wife. The husband is becoming a pastor. They don't have a process. So I think it's something Ravenhill that wrote the book. He said that Christians we are producing today are mass production Christians. So you don't say because they are in church they are Christians. You understand? Yes, after all, if you want to commit adultery in the church, the girls there are readily available. I have lectured in a Bible school and people were doing exam malpractice. The husbands and wives were doing exam. When you mark a paper, if you see the same answers again, and I told them I was not going to fail any person, but they were doing exam malpractice in that Bible.
In Bible school.
Oh,
that's heavy.
So, in terms of most women don't know what they want. Women, most of them don't know what they want. Somebody asked me, why didn't you travel with your wife? I said, I want peace of mind. If I had traveled with her, she would say, on the AC, the place is hot. I will on the AC. After some time, off it. It is very cold. People who are married for many years listening to me now will understand what I'm saying. She told me, no, don't buy anything for me as you went to Europe now, don't buy anything. Just buy chocolate. I'm wiser than her. If I don't buy, one of the days she will just tell me, that's how you went to Europe, you didn't buy anything for me. They don't know what they want. Are you following what I'm saying? And then, as a man, you should pretend in terms of giving direction and knowing her.
And navigating her.
Now navigating around her. Be diplomatic. But there's nothing you will do. This like that, she's a human being. Human wants are insatiable. When it comes to copulation, if you knock, say, you don't know saying a person body with a knock. Then after some time, if you don't knock too much, you just come now, just do it. You don't tire, just now. So you're very difficult to satisfy them because most times they don't know what they want. A woman will tell you, see Junior has been misbehaving. When we tell you about Junior, you don't do anything. You mumu, you now pick Ken. You start flogging Junior. Pia. Junior will start crying, Mommy. Then Mommy will come and say, I beg, leave Junior for me. Don't kill my son for me. Your anger is too much. The same person that said you were not
instigated it.
Yes, so just very complex human beings.
Very complex.
But very interesting human beings. Good to marry. All right.
Doc, lastly, a lot of people say you advocate for Yahoo boys. How would you respond to that?
Me?
Yes.
Advocate for Yahoo boys. How?
I read that in the comment section.
It's a satanic verse. Advocate for Yahoo boys. For
Yes,
what
you said something about that the same level of that Yahoo boy is bettered by that criminality is
criminality.
an ingenuity.
Okay.
So they now say
okay. That boy came for an interview with me during Nedu podcast.
Okay.
And I told them the story of somebody who met me in Springs and said that a Nigerian, I introduced myself as a Nigerian, how I was introduced. He said that Nigerians, criminals. I told him that criminality is intelligence looking for an avenue for manifestation in the midst of oppression and deprivation. You see, there are no prisoners of Norwegian origin in Norway. Their prisons are virtually empty.
They rent it out.
They rent it out to Spain and other countries. Because even the prisoners are allowed to go and come. When a goat is satisfied, it does not move around. It lies down. It makes me to lie down beside the still waters. The problem with Nigerians is that their brains are concretized, the monocompartment brain. They can't analyze an issue with multiplicity of viewpoints. A lot of this Yahoo was not common when, in those days, when you finished medical school, they will come and teach you how to drive. A car is waiting. How much was Beetle? 3,000 something. How much was Mercedes? 7,000 something. And they will give you a car loan. What are we celebrating? GLK second hand. I didn't see many GLK in Germany. There are newer cars there. So you have a house, you have a good wife, you have employment and all that. Yahoo will not be your immediate concern. There is lack of social justice. There is poverty in the land. There are bad examples. We come to ceremonies and start spraying money. The Yahoo boy wants to imitate us. But if you are disciplined and discreet, you and the children see us because they learn by observation and mimicry. If we provide a good example, we don't intimidate them. They will be more hardworking. If you can share your testimony, I can explain every money I have made. I can explain every penny I have made. And you know, as I talk, people investigate me, looking for a way to incriminate
to bring
me.
You down.
Yes. So they want to drag me into the mud. But the truth of the matter is that I can explain every money I have made. I've sweated for it. I don't owe any bank. I'm not owing any bank. I don't borrow money from bank. So what I've said is just the truth. But it would be very wicked and criminal for somebody to say I'm advocating for Yahoo boys. I don't like Yahoo. My children don't do Yahoo. I don't support Yahoo. And whoever thinks I'm advocating for Yahoo, they disturb my sleep.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you for this great opportunity.
My pleasure.
I feel honored having you.
If you invite me, I will come again.
Thank you. Sure. This is not your only time you will come.
And I'm
again.
your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. You can follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. And all that. God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you so much. And thank you, listeners and viewers, for watching. Hit the subscribe button and the notification button. And just know that I believe you've learned one or two things from Doc. He's always an encyclopedia of knowing things. Thank you and God bless you. Bye for now.